Hello, everyone, and good afternoon. My name is David. In the next 10 minutes, we'll be discussing how to transform security operations leveraging AI. AI has been a buzzword, but we're going to go in depth a little with the 10 minutes that we have on how we can actually improve the KPIs of our security operations centers. So Palo Alto Networks took a survey of hundreds of organizations across the world, across multiple industries, and we asked them, what KPIs are you measured on, or what is the performance metrics that your company gives you to achieve? And there are two main answers. Number one is mean time to detect. Number two is mean time to respond. Now, the purpose of the SOC is to have visibility of what's going on in the IT infrastructure, to have visibility. Number two is to have control, to respond to threats, to make sure that the organization is secure. Now, the MTTD, or mean time to detect, is actually a metric that's been made complicated, but it's actually very simple. It's measuring the time it takes from when a threat enters the organization, sits somewhere on the network. It's measuring how long it took the security team to detect that certain threat that got into the network. And mean time to respond is how long it took the security team to take an action towards mitigation towards that threat after it has been detected. So it's very simple. MTTD, MTTR, and it's the metrics that's used for IT leaders and security leaders, and it will determine whether or not you will get an increase this year or get a decrease. It'll determine whether you have a job next year or if you don't have a job. So do a good job with MTTD, MTTR, then you'll be fine in the security operations. So this is how it works. But there are two main pain points of security leaders across organizations. And from my personal experience, the main pain points are number one, too many alerts, and number two, not enough people to handle those alerts. And this has been a huge problem for organizations across the globe. And we want to actually go into that because I experienced being a SOC level 1 analyst for a large MSSP, a global company. And what I used to do as a level 1 analyst was to triage. I had two main jobs, triaging and correlation. Then anything that I would do, I would escalate to a level 2. So triaging is basically going into the SIEM and going through thousands of logs and seeing which one of those logs or alerts are actually legitimate, which ones are actual threats. Then I would note them down on a notepad. Then I would rate the severity. Is this critical or is this just informational? Is this legitimate or is this just noise? After that, my job would be to go back through those thousands of logs and then correlate which alerts are actually related to another one, which alert is duplicate of one log source to another source. So I wasn't very efficient at that job because many SOC organizations are also experiencing that kind of pain. So the MTTD and MTTR, the harder it is for the SOC analyst to detect, the more logs there is, then the farther the SOC team would get away from hitting their KPIs of MTTD and MTTR. So the days of dwell time, or the days that an advanced persistent threat can sit on a network without being detected, is around 212 days or 7 months. So that's a very long time. So now we're going to get into precision AI and how to use generative AI, apply that in security operations so we can reduce that dwell time, reduce that MTTD to a matter of minutes or even seconds. So this is where we get into a deep dive into AI. So we have a few minutes to talk about precision AI. So precision AI is a model focused on targeted, well-defined tasks, such as ways. So the objective of Waze is to get you from point A to point B the fastest. Not the shortest, but the fastest. So it will get data on the terrain, what is the distance between point A to point B, the traffic congestion, and then run that through an algorithm and pinpoint the user where is the best path, considering the distance, considering the congestion of traffic. So when you apply that with ISOG, we want a tool that can make decisions based on data. And this is where our global analytics kicks in. We take in massive amounts of structured and unstructured data from across our customers, across thousands of sensors across the world. And we use that data on file behavior, application behavior, on users, on behavior from different industries, from different organizations, and have baselines of what is part of the norm, what is anomalous, and what is malicious, or what is actually legitimate traffic. So that's precision AI. And then the decision tree, or the logic that we get from all processing that data, we get to see which behavior is actually malicious, which one is anomalous. Now, generative AI is a good example of this would be ChatGPT, where you would ask prompt and it will give you a response. So it still uses massive amounts of data to give you a more creative response, a non-definitive response, but more of creative. So software such as Photoshops would use this kind of data to create images based on what you tell the software to do. So Palo Alto Networks uses both of these AI algorithms, and we can get in depth if you visit our booth in a bit. So the impact that has on Palo Alto Networks. So here's a little insider information on Palo Alto Networks. This is not a customer organization. This is the internal security operations of Palo Alto Networks. We have about 12,000 employees and a global infrastructure, and we get attacked as a cybersecurity company by nation states, by normal attackers. And we have a total of only 22 personnel. And 4 of those are management. So the real analysts and engineers are only about 18 for a global organization of around 10,000 employees. So how do we do that? What we use is transitioning to an analyst-assisted security operations to an automated. So if you look on the left, this is the traditional way, where a SOC level 1 analyst would go through the thousands of logs and do the triaging, do the correlation, all of that manually, escalate it to a level 2 SOC engineer, and that SOC engineer would do the detection, investigation, and response. And the analytics would even be done by an L2 or an L3 SOC analyst. And then there will be almost no automation. Now, the key capability of machines is that it's very, very capable of doing the triaging, doing the correlation. So what we recommend actually is having the machines using machine learning, using correlation, using its parsing, and do that in a very efficient and quick manner. Let it do the analytics, let the machines do that, let it do the detection and some mitigation of common events, and leave the analyst at the top of the pyramid for the hard things. So the hard decision-making things that will really impact the organization. So with this, we can scale of protecting a global company of 12,000 employees with only 18 analysts. So this is what Palo Alto Networks goes through every day. We experience 36 billion events. So these are just random events. But we do the parsing, we run it through the ML algorithms, and the legitimate alerts from the 36 billion events per day are actually 133. But the only real incidents are 7 incidents. And the major incidents we find out using our artificial intelligence is 0. So from 36 billion events to 7 incidents to having 0 major incidents. And our time to detect is 10 seconds, and the mean time to respond is 1 minute. And most of the time, our mean time to respond is also our mean time to resolve. So with a few seconds left, let me just give you a sneak peek of what our AI tool looks like. So this is called XIM. So we see here we have many sources. This is an organization of about 42,000 endpoints. We're getting data from AWS, flow logs. We're getting data from next generation firewalls, Office 365, G Suite, and we're correlating that in our tool. And we're generating about 2,525 alerts on a 24-hour period. Now, after we run it through our AI, we figure out that those 2,525 alerts only equate to 101 incidents. And then from those 101 incidents, we see that the automated resolution done by the tool using AI is 83, and the manual resolved are only 18. And we see the open incidents are only 12. So imagine a tool where most of the incidents would be correlated and parsed and resolved by the tool using global analytics and artificial intelligence, and only a few would be left to be dealt with by the human SOC analyst. So with that, in closing, we actually have an oil and gas company. We're going back to the MTTD and MTTR. So we're reducing the 1,000 incidents flagged per day. After using our AI tool called XIM, there are only 250 incidents that are legitimate. And the mean time to resolution used to take days. Now it takes 59 minutes. So this is the impact that AI in the form of XIM can have on your organization. And we can deep dive further. I'd like to thank everyone for their time. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or visit us at our booth. I'll be there in the afternoon. Again, I hope this was informative, and I wish everyone a good afternoon.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Mr. David Recla of Palo Alto, for that transformative and precise presentation that you shared with us this afternoon, touching, of course, on key metrics. You know, AI, saying that AI is a great tool for thinking of solutions. Now, he talked about generative AI versus precision AI and the power of deep learning to artificial intelligence with precision AI that can actually help to speed things up, make things more efficient in the long run, and of course, make sure that you are safer, faster. There you go. So thank you once again to David.